My name is Parker Hayes, and up until that night in the Elmwood High Auditorium, I thought I had it all figured out. Elmwood, Ohio, population 12,347. Give or take a few factory workers who'd skipped town after the plant closed in '09. Was the kind of place where Friday nights meant football under the floodlights, and Sunday mornings meant sermons about sin and salvation. Folks here didn't talk about boys loving boys. They prayed it away, or worse, pretended it didn't exist. But Eli Whitaker was the exception that proved the rule. The crack in the pavement where wildflowers pushed through despite the concrete trying to crush them. We met freshman year in Mr. Hargrove's English class, the one where we dissected The Great Gatsby like it was some holy text. I was the kid with the guitar slung over my back, always humming Dylan or Springsteen tunes under my breath, dreaming of Nashville lights while scrubbing grease off my hands after shifts at my dad's auto shop. Eli sat 2 rows over, this lanky kid with hair the color of burnt caramel and eyes that looked like they'd seen too many Ohio winters. He didn't say much at first, just sketched in the margins of his notebook, intricate drawings of city skylines and open roads that made my chest ache with envy. One day, after I botched a presentation on Fitzgerald's green light symbolism, tripping over words like they were live wires, Eli slid a note across the aisle. Your voice doesn't need fixing. It just needs an audience that listens. I stared at it for the rest of the period, my heart pounding like a bass drum. That was Eli, quiet but with a way of seeing straight through the bullshit. We started hanging out after school, first under the bleachers sharing stolen cigarettes, mine, and dog-eared paperbacks, his, then in the abandoned lot behind the old mill, where the river whispered secrets and the sunset painted the sky in bruises of purple and gold. He'd lean against the chain-link fence, arms crossed, watching me strum chords on my beat-up acoustic, and I'd improvise lyrics about escape, about 2 souls tangled in a world that wanted them straitjacket. You ever think about just leaving? He'd asked one evening, as fireflies blinked like faulty stars around us. The air smelled of damp earth and distant rain, and his shoulder brushed mine. Accidental but electric. All the time, I said, plucking a melancholy riff. Pack a bag, hop a Greyhound to Chicago. You could come. We could busk on Michigan Avenue, make enough for dive bar burgers and dreams. He laughed, soft and rare, like wind chimes in a storm. My folks would disown me faster than you can say prodigal son. Dad's got his eye on me for the family farm, Whitaker legacy, and all that hay-baling glory. But there was a hunger in his voice, a restlessness that mirrored mine. Eli's home life was a minefield. His father, a burly ex-Marine turned tractor salesman, quoted Bible verses like ammunition, and his mom baked pies for church potlucks while whispering prayers for her wayward boy. Eli hid his sketches under his mattress, just like I hid my notebooks full of half-written songs about him. We were careful at first, stolen glances in the hallways, notes passed like contraband. But by junior year, careful turned to reckless. We'd sneak into my garage after dark, my dad's toolbox forgotten in the corner, and I'd sing him originals, voice low and gravelly, while he traced patterns on my arm with his fingertips. Our first kiss happened there, tasting of cherry coke and desperation, under the fluorescent buzz of a bare bulb swinging like a noose. I love you, I'd whispered against his lips, the words slipping out before I could cage them. He froze, then pulled me closer, his breath hitching like a sob. Love you too, Park. God help us. That God help us haunted me. Elmwood wasn't ready for us, and neither were we. Whispers started sophomore year. Kids catching us too close in the parking lot. A teacher overhearing a too tender goodbye. My best friend, Tommy Ruiz, who'd been like a brother since Little League, pulled me aside one lunch period behind the cafeteria dumpsters. Dude, people are talking. You gotta cool it with Whitaker. Coach already sidelined you from JV scout team. Says you're distracted. Tommy's eyes darted like he expected lightning to strike. He was straight as an arrow, dating half the cheer squad, but loyal in that small-town way until he wasn't. I'm just looking out for you, man. This town's got teeth. I brushed it off, called him paranoid. But the noose tightened. Eli's dad found one of his sketches, a portrait of me mid-laugh with a caption, "My compass north." The blow-up was biblical. Eli came to school with a split lip and a limp, claiming he'd fallen off the porch. I cornered him in the boys' bathroom, the tile echoing our whispers. He knows, Park, about us. Says he'll send me to conversion camp if I don't fix it. My fists clenched around the sink edge, knuckles white. Then we run. Tonight. He shook his head, tears carving tracks down his bruised cheek. Can't. Mom's sick, cancer's back. I'm all she's got left. That was the first crack in us. The moment I realized love in Elmwood wasn't a fairy tale. It was a fight you couldn't win with songs alone. But I tried anyway. I wrote more, furious ballads about forbidden fire, tender waltzes about stolen sunrises. Eli devoured them like scripture, slipping me mixtapes of his favorites. Johnny Cash's Gravelly Ache, Jeff Buckley's Ethereal Soar. We dreamed of a world beyond cornfields and conformity, a city where our hands could lace without shame. Senior year hit like a freight train. I was gearing up for the Winter Talent Show, the one event where Elmwood let its guard down. Kids lip-syncing pop hits, the drama club butchering monologues. I'd entered with Northern Star, the song I'd written for Eli, verses about gray eyes pulling me from the dark, a chorus that swelled like a heartbeat. I hadn't planned to dedicate it outright, but nerves and love have a way of overriding sense. The night arrived crisp and biting. The gym transformed with twinkling lights and a plywood stage that creaked under footlights. Families crammed the bleachers, clutching thermoses of hot chocolate, the air thick with fry grease from the concession stand. Eli sat front row, wedged between his parents. His dad stone-faced, arms crossed. His mom frail but smiling, wrapped in a quilt. Tommy shot me a thumbs up from the wings, oblivious to the storm brewing. I took the stage, guitar in hand, the spotlight hot on my skin. The crowd hushed, expectant. And then I sang. Not just sang, poured. My voice cracked on the first verse, raw with everything we'd buried. The kisses in the dark, the promises whispered against collarbones, the fear that clawed at us nightly. By the bridge, I locked eyes with Eli, and the words tumbled out unscripted. This one's for the boy who showed me the stars aren't just for wishing. They're for chasing, hand in hand. The auditorium went deathly still. Then chaos. A murmur rippling like wildfire. His dad's chair scraping back, Eli's face paling to ash. I finished the song on autopilot, the final chord vibrating through me like a dying breath. Applause trickled, polite from some, venomous from others. But before I could step off, Principal Hargrove, Mr. English from freshman year of all people, strode on stage, megaphone in hand. "Parker Hayes," he announced, voice slicing the air. "You are hereby expelled for conduct unbecoming a student of Elmwood High." The words landed like a sucker punch. Expelled. For a song. For loving. The lights cut, plunging me into void. And in that black, I heard Eli's voice, small, breaking. Call my name once before it drowned in the uproar. I stumbled off stage into the green room, heart hammering, the door slamming behind me like a coffin lid. Tommy was there, wide-eyed. "What the hell, Park? You just outed yourself. And him. In front of the whole damn town." "I had to," I gasped, slinging my guitar case over my shoulder. He needed to hear it. We both did. Tommy's face twisted, pity, fear, something sharper. "You're gonna get us all dragged down. My dad's on the school board. He already called me on the way here. Said if I hang with you anymore, I'm off the team." Betrayal's first bitter taste. Tommy, my ride or die, choosing survival over solidarity. I shoved past him, bursting into the parking lot, where snow flurries danced under sodium lamps. My truck, a rusted '98 Ford my dad had salvaged, was iced over, but I didn't care. I cranked the engine, radio blasting some forgotten country tune about lost love, and peeled out, tires spinning gravel like accusations. Home was a double-wide on the edge of town, the kind with aluminum siding that rattled in the wind and a porch light that flickered like Morse code for regret. Dad was in the recliner, nursing a bud and the Bengals game, his grease-stained hands leaving rings on the remote. Mom hovered in the kitchen, stirring chili that smelled of cumin and defeat. They'd heard. Of course they had. Elmwood's gossip mill ground faster than the river in flood season. Dad didn't look up. Heard you made a spectacle, son. It was just a song, Dad. He snorted, muting the TV. Song about another boy. Principal called. Said it's a distraction. Could get the school sued for hostile environment or some such. You're out. Diploma's gone unless you appeal, and good luck with that. Mom set a bowl in front of me, her eyes red-rimmed. Parker, honey, we love you. But this town's not like those big cities on TV. Folks here, they hold grudges. I pushed the bowl away, appetite soured. Then maybe it's time we left these grudges behind. Dad's jaw tightened. Easy for you to say. This shop's all we've got. Your granddad built it from nothing after the war, Korean War, mind you, and now you want to torch it for feelings? It's not feelings, Dad. It's who I am. The words hung heavy, and for the first time, I saw the fracture in us too. Not just Eli and me, but family, the whole rotten core of Elmwood. That night, I lay awake in my twin bed, posters of Hendrix and Cash staring down like disappointed ghosts. My phone buzzed once. A text from Eli. I'm sorry. Dad's taking my phone. I love you. Don't give up your voice. Then nothing. Silence like a shroud. The next morning, Expulsion made the local paper, Elmwood Star-Gazette's front page. Talent show scandal. Student booted for inappropriate dedication. Comments online were a bonfire of bile. Sick. Keep that agenda out of our schools. Pray for the Whitaker boy. I deleted the app, but the damage festered. School was a no-go. I GED it out, maybe community college if I could scrape tuition. But Eli? He was trapped. A bird in a gilded cage of cornstalks and commandments. I drove to the mill lot that afternoon. Snow dusting the ground like forgotten confetti. He wasn't there. Instead, Tommy was leaning on his Camaro, breath fogging the air. Look, Park, I didn't mean. Save it. I cut him off, fists balled. You bailed. First chance you got. He winced. It's not like that. My old man's leaning hard, says if I stick with you, it'll tank his board seat. But I got your back, sorta. Heard Hargrove's meeting with the Whitakers today. Might be able to smooth it. Smooth what? My expulsion? Elias beating. Rage boiled over and I shoved him hard. He stumbled back, eyes wide. Whoa, easy. I'm trying to help. There's a open mic at the Rusty Nail tonight. Dive bar downtown. Go blow off steam. Sing it out. I almost laughed. Bitter. The Rusty Nail, where truckers drown sorrows and has-beens nurse dreams. Not exactly Carnegie Hall. But what else was there? Eli's silence echoed louder than any crowd. Fine I mattered. But if you rat me out again, we're done. Tommy nodded, clapping my shoulder. No rats here, brother. Just survivors. Survivors. The words stuck like burrs as I drove away, the wipers slapping snow from the windshield. That night, under the bar's neon haze, Miller light signs flickering like faulty halos, I took the stage. A dozen patrons nursed drafts, eyes glazed from shift work. I launched into Northern Star, voice rawer than rawhide, the lyrics a lifeline to Eli. By the chorus, heads turned.
A waitress pose de mid pour.
The bartender, a grizzled vet named Cal, nodded slow approval. When I finished, the smattering of claps felt like thunder. Cal slid a free Coke my way. Kid, that was something. You got fire. Don't let this town snuff it. For the first time since the auditorium, I breathed. But as I stepped into the lot, phone dead and heart heavier, I didn't know the real storm was just brewing. The one that would test if my voice could crack Elmwood wide open, or bury us both. The days blurred into a gray Ohio January, each one colder than the last. Expulsion stripped more than my diploma. It gutted my routine, leaving me adrift in a sea of what-ifs. Mornings, I'd wake to Dad's truck rumbling out for early calls. Mom's note on the fridge. Pancakes and warmer. Love you. Afternoons blurred in the shop, wrenching engines while classic rock wailed from the radio. Seeger crooning about against the wind, a soundtrack to my simmering fury. Evenings, the Rusty Nail became my confessional. that scarred wooden stage my pulpit. Cal let me play Tuesdays and Thursdays, no cover, just tips in a chipped mason jar. Words spread slow, like molasses in winter. The expelled kid with the voice like smoked whiskey, singing anthems for the broken. Eli was a ghost. One text after the show. Heard you at the nail. Beautiful. Miss you. Then radio silence. I drove by the Whitaker farm once, the mailbox stuffed with seed catalogs, the porch light on like a wary eye. His truck was gone. Probably chained to some chore or worse, shipped off to that camp his dad threatened. The thought twisted my gut. Eli, with his artist's soul, wired to a machine of cures. I revved the engine and peeled out, tears freezing on my lashes. Tommy hovered on the fringes, a reluctant lifeline. He'd swing by the shop with burgers from Dairy Queen, updates doled out like rations. Hargrove's appeal board denied you unanimous. Said it sets a precedent. But Eli's holding. Skipped a week of school, though. Folks say he's different. Different how? I demanded, grease-blackened hands gripping the counter. Tommy shrugged, avoiding my eyes. Quieter. Won't look at anyone. His dad's got him in counseling church stuff. Counseling. The word was acid. I wanted to storm the parsonage, drag Eli out, drive west till the Rockies swallowed us whole. But love isn't a heist. It's a hostage negotiation with yourself. Instead, I channeled it into songs, furious folk rants about small-town shackles, ballads that bled vulnerability. The nail crowd grew. Factory hands slapping my back, a nurse from the clinic who slipped me her card. You remind me of my brother, lost to this place. Even a couple of college kids from Kent State, slumming for authenticity. One Thursday, mid-set, the door swung open, letting in a gust of sleet and a face I hadn't seen since the scandal. Coach Harlan, Eli's dad's poker buddy, all broad shoulders and buzz cut. He nursed a course at the bar, eyes locked on me like a hawk on a field mouse. I faltered on against the wind, voice thinning, but powered through, defiance my only armor. When I finished, he approached, meaty hand extended. Hayes, heard about the show. That was something. I shook it, wary. Coach. He leaned in, breath beery. Look, boy's hurting. Whitaker, Eli's dad, he's fit to be tied. But your ma called my wife. Said you're a good kid, just misguided. This. He waved at the stage. It ain't half bad. Mike could talk to Hargrove about that GD transfer. Quiet like. My pulse thrummed. A lifeline? Or a trap? And Eli? Coach's jaw worked. That's family business. But if you lay off the theatrics, maybe things cool. Theatrics. My love reduced to a sideshow. I nodded, bitter pill swallowed. Appreciate it, coach. He clapped my shoulder, hard, and left. That night, I lay staring at the ceiling cracks, mapping constellations in plaster. Was this redemption or just another leash? The appeal board reconvened the next week, and miracle of miracles, I got my GED path. Night classes at the VO Tech, credits transferred if I kept my nose clean. Dad grunted approval over meatloaf. Smart play, son. Don't squander it. But clean meant distance from Eli, from truth. I threw myself into the nail gigs, voice honing sharper, sets lengthening. Cal introduced me to Marty, a promoter from Cleveland with a ponytail and a van full of amps. Kid, you've got it, the raw ache that sells out dives. Akron next month? Low stakes, $100. Akron. A step beyond Elmwood's shadow. I said yes, dreams flickering back to life. But betrayal lurked, coiled like a snake in the grass. It struck on a Friday, the nail packed for once. Word of my comeback, drawing a mix of locals and gawkers. I was midway through a cover of Hallelujah. Cohen's lament twisted with my own ache, when the door banged open. Eli. God. Eli thinner, shadows under his eyes, but alive, slipping in with the crowd like he'd never left. Our gazes locked mid-verse. I nearly choked on the lyrics. He mouthed, keep going, a ghost of a smile, and I did, pouring every unspoken I love you into the mic. After, he waited by the bar, hood up, hands jammed in pockets. We spilled into the alley, the air knife-sharp, dumpsters reeking of regret. Park, he breathed, pulling me into a hug that cracked my ribs. He smelled of hay and home, our home. I couldn't stay away. We kissed then, fierce and fleeting, snowflakes melting on our lashes. Your dad. Locked my phone, grounded eternal. But Mom, she slipped me the car keys. Said to tell you she's praying for us. Real prayers, not the fire and brimstone kind. Hope surged, wild and unwise. We talked in whispers. His skipped weeks a blur of sermons and silence. My gigs a fragile bridge. Come with me to Akron, I pleaded. One night, we'll figure the rest. He hesitated, thumb tracing my jaw. Dad found out about the song. Beat me black and blue. Then shipped me to that camp for a trial week. Electroshock bullshit, Park. They tried to zap the gay away. Rage blinded me. I punched the brick wall, knuckles splitting. I'll kill him.
No.
His grip tightened. We fight smart. Your voice, it's our weapon. Sing louder. For us. We parted at dawn. His taillights fading into fog. I floated through shifts, songs birthing like spring shoots. Marty booked more, Toledo, Youngstown. The Star Gazette ran a fluff piece. Expelled troubadour finds melody in mayhem. And suddenly, I had a following. Teens snuck in Cal's blind eye, slipping notes, you're brave. I'm scared too. It felt bigger than me, like my expulsion had cracked a dam, letting hidden currents rush. But Elmwood bites back. 2 weeks later, rehearsal night at the shop, guitar tuned, notebooks splayed. I got the call. Tommy, voice shaky. Park, it's bad. Eli's in the hospital. Overdose. The world tilted. I floored it to Mercy General, tires screaming on black ice. Our waiting room. Fluorescent hell, magazines curling at edges. Eli's mom paced, quilt clutched like a shield. His dad loomed, face carved from granite. What happened? I demanded, shoulder-checking past a nurse. She collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Pills. My heart meds. He left a note. Said he couldn't fight anymore. The town, the camp. Us. The word gutted me. His dad rounded on me, eyes blazing. This is your fault, boy. That damn song. Paraded our shame for all to see. He's weak because of you. Weak, I roared, stepping into his space. He's the strongest soul I know, and you broke him. With your fists, your cures. You're the poison. A security guard materialized. But Mrs. Whitaker waved him off, voice steel. Let him. Eli asked for Parker. Last thing he said. They let me in. Eli, pale as moonlight, IV'd to the moon, eyes fluttering open. Park. Sorry. Couldn't breathe. I took his hand, cool and fragile. Shoo. You're here. We're here. Tears blurred him, but I sang soft, a cappella. A lullaby I'd written in the garage, about rivers running free. His grip tightened, pulse steadying under my thumb. Doctors pumped his stomach, counselors circled like vultures. Turns out, the camp had pushed too far, group sessions laced with shame, testimonies from cured men who looked hollowed out. Eli cracked, but not irreparably. Discharge came with mandates, therapy, family counseling, no contact with triggers, me top of the list. His dad enforced it, a human wall. But Eli smuggled letters via his mom. Sketches of us on city stoops, notes scrawled in margins. Your voice saved me. Keep singing. I'll find a way. Marty's Akron gig loomed. A beacon. I poured heartbreak into prep, voice deepening with grief's gravel. Tommy showed up to the shop, contrite. I should have had your back sooner. But listen, heard whispers. School boards spooked by the press. Might reopen your case if you play nice. Nice. The word soured. But for Eli, for us, I play the long game. Gig night. House of Blues Annex, sticky floors and beer-soaked air. Crowd. 50 strong. Mix of locals and road trippers. I opened with Northern Star, dedicating it silent, to the boy in the bed miles away. By close, they chanted my name, tips overflowing. Marty grinned wolfish. Tour material, kid. Cleveland next, bigger stage. Elation crashed into dread. Bigger meant leaving Eli behind, or dragging him into the unknown. Back home, dawn breaking bloody, my phone lit, unknown number. It's me. Stole Dad's burner. Meet me at the mill. Now. Heart slamming, I went. He waited, duffel at feet, face set like flint. I'm done hiding. Come with me. To Cleveland. To anywhere. Your voice electrifies. Park. Let it take us. We kissed under the rising sun, bags packed in my truck by noon. Elmwood shrank in the rear view, fields giving way to highway hum. Betrayal had scarred us. But love? It was the road ahead, winding and wild. Yet as billboards blurred, welcome to the Rust Belt. I glanced at Eli, asleep against the window, and wondered if we'd outrun the shadows, or if they'd chase us still. Cleveland hit like a fever dream. Skyline jagged against Lake Erie's moody gray, streets pulsing with a grit Elmwood could only envy. We crashed in Marty's crash pad, a loft above a tattoo parlor in Ohio City, walls papered in faded gig posters, air thick with patchouli and possibility. Eli sketched feverishly, capturing the chaos. Bridges arched like lovers' backs, crowds blurring into color storms. I gigged nonstop, open mics bleeding into paid slots at places like Grog Shop and Beachland Ballroom. My voice, once a whisper in garages, now commanded rooms. 100, then 200 souls hanging on lyrics forged in fire. Northern Star became our anthem. Fans dissected it online, YouTube clips grainy but gripping, comments a lifeline. This is for every kid kicked out for loving wrong. Elmwood who? Parker's the real deal. Marty hustled a demo. For tracks, recorded in a basement studio that smelled of stale pizza and ambition. Radio play, boys. Local first, then syndication. You're the underdog story America eats up. Eli thrived in bursts, busking with me on weekends, his harmonica weaving melancholy threads through my guitar. But shadows lingered. Nightmares woke him sweating. Camp electrodes buzzing, his dad's voice thundering abomination. I'd hold him till dawn, humming folk cures, but the fracture ran deep. What if it's not enough? He'd murmur, fingers tracing my tattoos. A compass rose on my forearm, inked post-expulsion. The music, the miles. What if they find us? They won't. I'd lie because love demands it, but Elmwood's reach was longer than we knew. First crack came subtle. A plain dealer profile, from expulsion to spotlight, Parker's Rust Belt rise. Quoted Coach Harlan. Good kid, just needed direction. And Tommy, now a footnote, we grew up together. Proud of him. Buried in paragraph 7. Hayes's inspiration? A controversial high school romance that's left scars in his hometown. No names, but Eli's eyes darkened reading it. They're watching. Paranoia bloomed. Anonymous calls to Marty, hang-ups with heavy breathing. Fan mail turned toxic. Bible verses clipped from tracks. Repent before it's too late. Eli withdrew, sketches turning abstract, jagged lines like lightning scars. Therapy helped, virtual sessions with a queer counselor in Columbus, but progress was a tightrope. Climax brewed in spring, gig season peaking. Headline show. Agora Theater, 2,000 seats, sold out on hype. Backstage, chaos. Soundcheck glitches, Marty barking orders, Eli pale in his button-down, sketching set lists to steady hands. This is it, Park. Our proof. We believed it, till intermission. I stepped off stage, sweat-soaked, crowd roaring for encore. When my phone buzzed, Mom, come home. Now, Eli's dad, he's here. With lawyers. Ice in my veins. I bolted to the green room, Eli already pacing. He tracked the article. Says I'm emancipated. Wait, no, says he'll sue for custody. Claim you influenced me into running. Mom's on his side now. Scared I'll end up like her. Broken. Broken. The word ignited me. Let him try. We're not kids anymore. But fear gnawed. Eli's eyes, those storm grays, pleaded. What if we lose? Back to the farm, the camp. I can't. The betrayal landed then, sharp as shrapnel. Not from family, but fracture within. In the chaos, Tommy called, reaching out, he said, Park, listen. Whitaker's got the board riled. Talking smear campaign, say your lifestyle corrupted Eli, that the overdose was your fault. I might have to testify. Dad's pushing. Testify. My brother in arms. Selling me out for a clean conscience. You son of a... After everything? It's not personal. Just survival, man. Like always. I hung up, world splintering. Eli grabbed my arm. What? Tommy. He's flipping. For real this time. His face crumpled, not anger, but sorrow. Then we end it here. Tonight. Sing for the broken ones like you always do. I'll go back, face it. You fly. No. I pulled him close. The roar of the crowd a distant sea. We face it together. Or not at all. Encore time. I took the stage alone at first. Spotlight searing. 2,000 faces, a sea of expectation. Guitar slung low. I launched into Northern Star. But twisted. Verses swelled with rage. They'll chain the rivers, cage the sky. But love don't bend. It multiplies. By bridge, Eli joined. Harmonica wailing like a siren's cry. Stepping into light uninvited. Gasps rippled, then cheers. We locked eyes, mid-chorus, and poured it out. Betrayal's sting, survival's cost. Love's defiant roar. The theater erupted. Standing ovation that shook the rafters. Chants of Parker. Any. Shaking my bones. Backstage, Marty hooped. Fans mobbed the barriers, notes raining. You saved me tonight. But outside, in the alley fog, reality waited. A black SUV idling. Eli's dad silhouetted in the door. Parker Hayes. His voice, gravel over glass. You've poisoned my boy long enough. We're leaving. Eli stepped forward. Duffel reclaimed from the van. No, Dad. We're staying. This us, it's my choice. The man deflated, not with fury, but weariness. Age lines etched deeper, eyes hollow. So, I thought I was saving you. From hell. From me. Mrs. Whitaker emerged then. Quilt discarded, steps tentative. We were wrong. The counselor's words, real ones, stuck. Eli's not broken. We are. A standoff in the sodium glow. Family versus freedom. No feasts flew. No ultimatum sanderth. Just quiet unraveling. His dad extended a hand, not to grab, but release. Go then. But know the farm's door. It's cracked. If you want. Eli took it, brief, then turned to me. We drove into the night. Cleveland's lights a constellation come alive. No dramatic chase, no courtroom climax. Just a mending, stitch by painful stitch. Months blurred. Demo dropped. Northern Star hit Cleveland airwaves. Then Pittsburgh. Tours beckoned, small, scrappy, but ours. Eli's sketches sold at galleries. His harmonica a fixture. We wrote together now duets of ache and ascent. Elmwood faded to postcards. Mom's recipes clipped. Dad's gruff proud of you. Kid. Tommy. A distant echo. Forgiven but forgotten. 1 year post-expulsion we returned. Not as fugitives but pilgrims. Talent show redux. I on stage. Eli beside. Singing a new song. City Bound. About bridges burned and built anew. The auditorium hushed. Then thundered approval. No expulsions, no whispers. Just faces wet with recognition. The lonely kids in back rows, seeing themselves in our light. We didn't stay. Drove west at dawn. Nashville calling. Love, we'd learned, isn't a battlefield one. It's a voice raised in the dark, electrifying not just a city, but souls adrift. Eli's hand in mine, harmonica glinting on the dash. I sang to the highway, free, finally, under endless American sky. In the end, it wasn't triumph or tragedy, but grace. The human ache to connect, undimmed by storms. And in that grace we found our home. Not a place, but each other.